Our environment and the food we eat has changed more over the past 100 years than over the past 1 million, and there are more people suffering with preventable illnesses than ever. So much for progress. How would you feel if I told you that most of what we've been conditioned and brought up to believe about food and health is simply wrong? We've all heard, don't skip breakfast, it's the most important meal of the day. Never sunbathe, it causes skin cancer. Eat 3 meals a day and eat little but often, and so many more, and all are wrong. Some of the biggest health misconceptions of modern times. Primal Cure is here to challenge these misconceptions and unveil the truth about weight loss and how to improve our health and ultimately our longevity. Steve Bennett, the author of Primal Cure, details the picture as it unfolded for him on his journey to restoring his own health and well-being after spending his adult life overweight.
You very openly said in your book that, fats aren't the enemy here. But this is something that we've been educated about for such a long time, that actually, fats are the enemy. You can have your carbs, you can have your protein, but cut out the fats. What's your view on this?
Because I think my view is it's completely wrong. It's just wronger than a wrong thing could be wrong, okay? So Ancel Keys, back in the late 50s, did some research. He was a doctor stroke scientist, and he set out to prove that fat was causing heart problems. That's what his mission was. And I talk in the book about Derren Brown. In fact, let me do Derren Brown first.
Yeah.
Derren Brown, the magician, in 2012, what he actually did was he flipped 10 coins in a row and they all landed on heads. And everybody's like, how did he do it?
Yeah.
And he said, I promise you, I've not weighted the coins. I promise you, I haven't got a special flick. But look, I just did 10 flicks in a row. How did he do it? He later admits how he did it. The cameras were rolling for about 9 hours in total. Yeah. And eventually the odds are statistically that eventually you will always be able to flick 10 in a row. It just takes a really long time. But of course, the bit he put on the television was just that last bit. So every time he flew, he got a tail, he stopped, and they refilmed again. And eventually, the bit we only ever see is the 10 in a row.
Wow.
And here's my point. Ancel Keys set out with the mission of saying fat is what causes the problem. So he went from country to country to country. And every time a country, with the research that he found, didn't match what he was trying to prove, he just dropped the research from that country and they went to another one. So he dropped some vital bits in the research. Yeah. But the trouble is, this research became so well known that governments started to say, okay, yes, it is fat that's causing heart disease and da-da-da-da-da. And therefore, ever since then, because the ball got rolling, nobody's been brave enough yet to say, no, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And the reality is this, there's never been any facts and reports, real facts, to say that it's fat that's the problem.
Yeah.
But there is bad fats, okay? There's good fats and there's bad fats. All your natural fats, the fats you get from your coconuts, you get from avocados, the fats you get from meats and so on and so forth, and even whole butter are good fats. They're healthy fats.
So what are the bad fats?
Bad fats are those that are manufactured, what we call trans fats. The fats that for many, many years they put in packaged food, the fats that for many years chip shops were using because they're cheap to produce. And packaged food, when you see that really long shelf life on a bit of packaged food, it's normally the fat that's in there, that's been manufactured, or certainly used to be the case, is there to extend the shelf life. So all fats are good unless they're manufactured. Right. And this whole thing about saturated fats aren't good, but unsaturated are, and polysaturated fats are good, but these aren't. It's all complete rubbish. We need some of all in our diet. We need saturated, we need unsaturated, we need polyunsaturated as well. So we need a mix of them. And in fact, people think, oh, that type of food is all saturated, that's all unsaturated. Normally, they come together. So normally, one type of food isn't just saturated or unsaturated, it's a bit of all three together. But take it from me, fat is not the enemy if you're trying to lose weight or live healthily. too many carbohydrates are the enemy.
Now, why do you think then, because this is a really big question for me then, why do you think only now it's something that's become so apparent that it's carbs, not fat?
Because when you start a ball rolling like a snowball, everybody jumps on the bandwagon, and it's hard to be the first person to stand up and say, no, you've all got this wrong. Yeah. But it is now, we're seeing it on the BBC programmes about the fact that too many carbs are causing obesity. The tide is turning, and we're hopefully the Primal movement is helping a bit as well to turn the attention on cut down the carbs to lose weight. Because fat itself cannot make you fat. Yeah. It just can't. It's sugar and carbs that makes us fat. So there are good fats, and the good fats are the natural fats. And it actually, you're a lot younger than me, but I'm in my 50s, and my mum used to give us cod liver oil on a spoon. It used to taste horrible as a child, and we had to spoon it in.
Used to as well. Did she? She's a really big fan of that.
Well, there you go. So our moms knew that fat wasn't really causing the problem. They knew that cod liver oil and fish oils were good, but just tasted horrible. So let me tell you a little bit about the supplement that we've got. And in fact, before we do, I'm going to introduce you to Marcus Willis. Marcus Willis, if you remember, a couple of years ago, played central court against Federer. And sadly, the news the next day focused more on the fact they called him the fat boy of tennis. He won't mind me saying it. His mum was distraught. Look, he was distraught. But he was always slightly overweight. And then because he was not, tennis isn't like football. Tennis, unless you're in the top 2 or 3 in the country, not even the top 5, but the top 2 or 3, you don't make any money. Yeah. So it was Marcus found me by accident, and so I started to coach him. Took him around one of our big 3 supermarkets, showed him what to eat, what to buy. Anyway, this year at Wimbledon, you will see a different Marcus. Wow. He looks a lot slimmer. He's lost a load of weight. He's leaving very, very primally. He said to me, before I show you this clip though, he's got braces in at the moment because he's married a dentist. So he said, I talk a bit funny at the moment, but here's what Marcus has got to say about our omega-3.
One of the supplements I'm taking at the moment, one of my favourite ones actually, taking it on a daily basis, is the fish oils. High in omega-3, very, very good for your joints, obviously, but also I find my focus improved a lot since I started taking them.
So
to be a professional tennis player, of course, he's saying, for his joints and for his function and things like that, it's so vital for somebody like him. Yeah,
good quality oils do so much for the body. So many functions rely on good quality oils. Back to that thing about carbs against, carbs against oils, for example. Carbohydrates, other than a source of energy, don't carry with them nutritional vitamins. They don't carry minerals with them. Good quality fats are nearly always associated with a whole host of great vitamins, a whole host of great minerals. And in particular, there are sort of 3 fatty acids that omega-3 breaks down into. And these fatty acids, they're unsaturated fatty acids, they break down into ALA, which is one of them. But I don't want to get too technical because it's kind of not really that important, which we get mainly from plants. And therefore, if you are a vegetarian, flaxseed oil is probably your best. If you're a vegetarian, you don't take fish oil, therefore, flaxseed oil is probably the highest that you can get in omega-3. We have got that coming later in the summer as a flaxseed oil for you. We haven't got it yet. We've just finished production just recently, so we've got to do all the labelling, all the testing and all that. But that is coming in the summer. So at the moment, we haven't got a vegetarian offering. But from that you get ALA, which again is great for the brain and lots of different things. But the 2 most important ones when it comes to fish oil are, as we can see on here, something called EPA and DHA. These are the parts of omega-3, or the actual fatty acids of omega-3 that are so crucial for so many functions within the body. And my brother said to me, my brother had been taking this brand for a long, long time. And I looked at it and I went, my goodness, those are massive, right? So these are 1,200 milligrams. I said, and I can put 8 or 9 supplements in one go, 1 glass of water, and I've learned to just knock them back and they've gone in no problem at all. But even I was frightened of these. These were gobs back a size. But my brother said, but look on the back, it says super strength. Well, that was quite interesting because it does say super strength on the back. Look, I won't say the brand, but look, super strength. A little bit misleading because these are massive, but the amount of the two most important things, the EPA and the DHA in there, is less than ours.
So it doesn't matter about the size, it's actually the quality of what's in there.
Yeah, well, all these other brands, look, here's brand one, 1,000 milligrams, ours is 1,000 milligrams. It's got only 180 milligrams of EPA and 120. Well, we're 400 and 300. So we are pretty much, we're more than double. So the tablet size, so all these tablets, look, all these soft gels, we all do it in soft gels because that's what you put omega-3 into. It helps it get it down into the stomach where we need to get all the goodness through the stomach and then also into the intestines. So we all pretty much, all these are from our competing brands, but we couldn't find anybody that was doing high enough concentration. Why is that? Cost. It's really much more expensive to produce a really high potent, high quality omega-3. So we went through brand by brand. There was brand number one. Here was brand number two. This is one I actually used to use myself in the past. Yeah, EPA, very, very, very low look indeed on that one.
Do you know, it's funny that you mentioned
This one, look, 330, 220, brand four. Brand 5. Now these are all supermarket brands and also one very famous website. Look, 180, 120. We're 400, 300. So in ours, so in that one, look, 180 plus 120, that's 300. Only 30% of the 1,000, only 30% is what you're really after. Yeah. With ours, 70%. I think that ours is the most potent on the market. Now that doesn't mean to say everybody else is rubbish, but it does mean with others you might have to take 2 or 3 capsules.
I noticed that,
You might have to take 2 or 3 to get the same benefit. With ours, because we think you're going to be taking a lot of other supplements, you might be taking the Slim Shot, you might be taking like a multivitamin, turmeric, garlic, so we want to, wherever possible, really make the best product possible so you don't have to have 2s and 3s.
Exactly. I was just going to say, I spoke to a friend the other week about this omega-3 product, Primal Cures, and she said to me, "Wow, mine's got 1,000 milligrams in it, so it's got loads in it." And what's really important is what you've just spoke about is actually the concentration of it, which I think is actually very obvious to the likes of you and me who have been studying this, but just to those at home, that is the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, concentration is really, really important. Easeability of taking it, how you deliver it to the gut. There are some good fish oils out there that you can spoon and you can take them. Some great ones out there. And if you're happy with the taste, and if you're not too worried about getting it, delivered to where you need it to get delivered, then there are some fantastic fish oils out there. And I'm saying that because I was brought up on one. So I'm not going to I never knock the competition apart from in this case. But for me, I wanted a capsule because I don't particularly like the taste of fish oil. No. I wanted a capsule that I could take and know that it was the most potent of all. And kind of that's what we've done throughout the entire collection of multivitamins, Slim Shots. There are some competing products to Slim Shots, but most of them use artificial sweeteners. We don't have any artificial sweeteners in any of our products because we think it plays and messes around with the microbiome. Like take our effervescent vitamin C tablet. Again, nearly all the competitors on the market have either sugar in it. Well, they're still giving you vitamin C, which they promise you. It says it's a vitamin C, but what are all the other things in there to make it taste good? So most of the competitors have sugar or artificial sweetener in. We have none of those in. So all our supplements are designed with your health in mind, rather than looking at profitability. And for me, I've got a huge family. All my family only now use our supplements. And I don't want to be there 20 years down the line going, "Oh, I forgot to tell you there was artificial sweetener in that one." They are clean supplements.
Now, if you are somebody who loves your fish and you eat it 3-4 times a week, is this still okay to take with the supplement and just to get even more omega-3 in your body?
Great question. So the question is it okay? Right, it's completely okay. Another question would be, is it necessary? So if you're eating, and I call them slippery fish, oily fish, if you love your mackerel, if you love your salmon, if you're having that nearly every day, probably don't need to be taking a fish oil. Concentrate and other don't forget what supplements are. They are there to supplement a great diet in the first place, right? So diet the right food, cut your carbs down, eat whole food, eat organic, eat healthy vegetables, organic vegetables, eat organic fruit, eat the right food, get rid of all that junk food, get rid of the packaged food. Don't buy packaged food that are full of nasties. Cut down on the carbs, cut down on the bread, cut out if you can the bread, the rice, the pasta if you're trying to lose weight. So focus on really good food first and foremost. Always diet. Not diet as in fad diets, but what you're eating. The word diet, by the way, is misused these days.
I agree.
The real word diet is a Greek word which means way of life. So get your way of life right, eat all the right foods, eat healthily, get some exercise, go out and walk more, do all the things we know that we should be doing, walking more, sleeping more, getting the right amount of sleep, trying to avoid stress, do all that right first, and then supplements are to supplement a really good lifestyle anyway, and fill in the gaps where maybe you aren't getting it right. So if you are the person that eats loads and loads and loads of fish or oily fish, you might not need a fish oil. Now, I love oily fish, but I also, I don't blame. A lot of people talk all the time about, my mum's got this, my dad's got this, and therefore I'm going to have the same diseases and so on and so forth. I think too much these days, people say, I'm going to inherit it, it gets passed on down the genes. I don't believe it as much, but my mum does have early onset Alzheimer's, and one thing we know for definite is good fatty acids, as in omega-3, are good for the brain. So I'm not taking any chances. I eat loads of oily fish because of all the other things it's good for as well, but I still take my omega-3 every single day. However, I just take one of ours, I don't take more. There are some of our vitamins that, we have to say only take one, but I take loads of them.
With the omega-3 tablets, they do not have any kind of fishy smell to them, do they?
None whatsoever. You take it, and then you'll just feel the benefit. And again, of course, remember, you've got that 30-day money-back guarantee at any time. So if you don't get the benefits you're expecting from it, just send it back to us, and we'll give you, even if you're halfway down the tub, send it back, and we'll give you a full credit for it. But we really, really believe in it. In fact, omega-3 is so important. Let's not just take our word for it. There's a great personal trainer called Warwick. His name's Warwick, and he actually trains people in Warwick. He trains football.
My hometown.
Your hometown as well. He trains professional football players. He trains professional tennis players. A whole host of celebrities and business people. Let's see what Warwick has to say about omega-3.
So fish oil, across the board, really, really cool supplement to take, just because it affects a lot. It kind of gets to the root of a lot of things that people are experiencing when it comes to their ill health. Inflammation is a really hot topic. I guess these days people are much more aware of it. We know it comes from the types of foods we're consuming. Obviously, removing some of those foods is a really great shout, but you also want to get it back into balance. I think last stats I looked at was something like we should have a 1-to-1 ratio between our sort of fats, if you like. I'm not really naming any names right now, but just think of it like a 1-to-1 ratio is our ideal. Most people have sort of a 15 or even something up to 20-to-1 in that inflammatory boat. So we end up with a 20-to-1 on the inflammatory side. So we actually want to start taking something as well to start upping anti-inflammatories and actually get us quicker back to balance. Because most people don't really want to be waiting for the rest of their lives to wait for our body to calibrate itself. So taking something like a fish oil, for example, certainly a very high concentration fish oil, and exactly like the Primal stuff, because as I said, it's pretty much the highest concentration you can find, commercially anyway, unless you're going to go make your own. So start taking that stuff, and you'll start to see, as I said, all those other markers start to be positively effective. You're just thinking cellular health at this point. All your cells are wrapped in fat. They all need a good fat layer in order to function properly, be permeable, and also defend against, foreign bodies coming into them. So the problem is a lot of our cells are made with like a less superior fat, if you think of it like that, a brittle fat, however you want to picture it, okay? So when we have fish oil or more of, if you like, high quality oils within our diet, you're going to find our whole body starts to calm down, less inflamed, all cell function goes up. So we end up feeling much, much healthier just from taking one type of supplement.
Wow, that was
knowledgeable, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very informative. And considering he's training footballers and professionals, that's incredible. Something that it used to confuse me a lot, and probably for you at home as well, is that is there a difference between omega-3 and omega-6?
Yep. So there's also omega-9. There's several different omegas. And the word omega, where does the word omega come from? It is the last symbol in the Greek alphabet, the omega symbol. And the reason they call the oil omega is to do with where In fact, it's getting too complicated. I'm not going to tell you all this. It's way too complicated. But it's all to do with the actual way the fat forms and where the break in the fat forms. Anyway, so there's omega-3, omega-6, 7, 9, and so on and so forth. The two that we hear the most, omega-3 and omega-6, right? So we need both of them in our diet, 3 and 6. You'll say, well, why haven't you put 6 here? We've got too much 6 in our diet already. We've got plenty of 6 in loads of things that we eat. And in fact, you need to try and readdress the balance, because our body is expecting, because again, evolution takes such a long time. Our bodies haven't yet evolved to this outer kilter at the moment. There's way too much 6 in the diet and nowhere near enough 3 in the diet
Well,
at the moment.
Is that all to do with the ratio? They talk about the ratio of getting the omega-3 and the omega-6 right for your body.
Yeah, so here, let me give you one example.
Yeah.
So, one of the reasons you should always try and have organic meat, talk beef in particular here. So talk about beef. If the cow has been out grazing in the field the way Mother Nature intended, and then we cook it and we eat it, the omega-3, omega-6 balance is really close to 1 to 1. Okay. So that's why, organic meat is healthy. Yeah, it's healthy.
Yeah.
The omega-3, omega-6 balance is quite good. Sadly though, especially with beef, if it's what we call factory produced cows, as in they're not out there grazing, they are in a shed, fed corn, right, which is not their normal diet. No cow was ever raised to be born and to eating corn. So, but that's what they do. They feed them corn, and then because corn isn't what the cow expects to eat, that's what they're not designed to eat corn. We have to inject them with things like antibiotics. The vast majority of antibiotics in the world aren't used by humans, they're used by cattle.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that crazy? And then even worse than that, if that doesn't fix it, the antibiotics, they get force-fed hormones. Anyway, end of the story is the difference between the omega-3 and omega-6, which should be 1 to 1 in beef, can be as far out as 7 to 1. In other words, 1 omega-3 portion to 7 portions of omega-6. So that, a lot of people say meat's unhealthy. Yes, meat can be unhealthy if it's not organic, but when it's organic, that's what we're designed to eat. We've been eating meat ever since man was put on this earth, or came on this earth, whatever you believe, or however we evolved. That's what we're designed to eat. We're designed to eat good, wholesome vegetables and plants that we go and pick, a varied diet, and we're designed to eat meat. It's part of our makeup. But if we use factory farmed foods, and actually, you should, where you can, try and go organic everything.
Absolutely.
But the most important one for me, out of, I said it in the book a lot, if there's only one thing you can afford to go organic, make it your beef.
Yeah, because you also say in the book as well, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
Which is that's
Isn't that so true?
Yeah.
So we always talk, don't we, about you are what you eat. Well, you are what you eat. So if you're going to eat a cow, if you're going to have beef for dinner, and it was in a factory and it's never seen a blade of grass in its life, sadly, and it's been corn fed, and it's been stuffed with antibiotics, well, you're in some way, we don't know how much, but it's logical, isn't it, to follow that down the line. It goes, well, I'm taking antibiotics when I shouldn't be, therefore I'm destroying my own immune system, because that's what antibiotics do. They're designed to kill off, good bacteria, well, bad bacteria, but the side product is you kill off all bacteria, or lots of bacteria, good and bad. So just if there's one thing that you switch in your diet from organic, non-organic to organic, the first thing you should always switch is your meat. Then you should look at your salmon. Reading my book, I'll explain why you should switch salmon from non-organic to organic. Then you want to flick your berries over and your fruit, because the problem with non-organic fruit is because it hasn't had to fight to defend itself, because it's got pesticides all over it, because it's not fighting for survival, it doesn't develop all the antioxidants like it should. And one of the reasons we eat so much fruit and told to eat so much fruit is the benefit of all those antioxidants in the fruit. So the difference between a fruit that's been treated chemically to survive and one that's grown naturally is one's got better defense systems than the other. We've done the work for it, so why should it work hard?
Yeah, exactly.
So first of all, you switch your meat to organic, then you switch your salmon to organic, then you switch everything else, particularly your fruit and your vegetables.
What was so shocking when we were having a conversation the other day is the statement that you made about the apple and how long it takes to get to the soup. I mean, I'm stunned.
I'm not going to
Steve.
say that on air because that's
No.
scaring the life out of everybody. But the time it takes from an apple normally to get picked to the time we consume it from many supermarkets or certain supermarkets is a lot longer. I won't say what it is, but than we will all imagine. I'll get you straight back to omega-3 on this one. I believe our omega-3 is the most potent out there, even though all these competing ones are all looking pretty much the same. And even though on the outside, the headline says the same, 1,000 milligrams, as 1,000 milligrams. These are all 1,000 milligrams, but the concentration of the two strains that you want in there, and we've just written them on here, look, so you can remember EPA and DHA, as far as we've found so far, we've done loads of research, the most potent one out there, which means you only have to take one of these rather than 2 or 3 with some other brands.
Now, also with this omega-3, I noticed on the supplement it says deep water fish. Now, this might sound very obvious, but why deep water fish?
Okay, there is pollution in the oceans. We all know about pollution in the oceans. We're massively against single-use plastic bottles here. We've also made the pledge that by 2020, we won't have any plastic in our containers. At the moment, we confess many of our supplements do come in plastic. We're trying to get rid of that. And there's other pollution in the oceans. So the deeper the fish, the less chance we've got of pollution, and the deeper the fish, the food that they feed off, because it's like a food chain. So if you actually look at where omega-3 starts and why fish are so rich in omega-3, we talk about plankton. Well, plankton are really rich in omega-3. So you want omega-3 from the beginning all the way through, and cold water fish is where we want to be. We want to be cold water fish. We don't want omega-3 to come from farmed fish. We want them out of the ocean, so you've got better quality in the first place. So we've gone high quality. We have gone high in the 2 ingredients you want. 70% of what's inside ours is the 2 main elements that you want for health. And we're not knocking all the competitors. No. You know, this one here is also quite strong, but not quite as strong as ours, and it's much bigger. It's cheaper to produce. I won't again say who the brands are, because I'm not here, you know, to say to you what you're using at the moment isn't great. You know, ours might be a slight premium on price, and therefore, you know, if you know ours is £1 more, and if that's out your budget, then you're still good to go and get somebody else's out there. But just be careful of what you're getting, and you might need to consume 2 or 3 to get to the percentage of ours, and then actually ours all of a sudden look very cheap, not very expensive. You know, and I think it's really important with supplements. You know, my family are very important to me. Everybody's families are, and you're the same at home. If you want to protect your family, you know, there was no way. You know, we're both from the jewellery industry originally. You know, my kids have to wear our jewellery. That's one thing. They're not allowed to go and buy other places. They have to wear my jewellery. And of course, they have to, have daddy's supplements. And there was no way my kids, who are precious to me, I was going to make them have my supplements unless I thought they were the best you could possibly get.
Absolutely. I mean, that speaks volumes, Steve. I mean, of course you wouldn't want to do that. And that's why they're so brilliant, because this is really coming from the heart from you.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, our whole ethos is about helping others. The whole book was written just to pass on that message that I had learned. I was obese, I was massively overweight, I was really unfit, I was just about to become a dad for the 7th time, and it was like, oh my goodness gracious me, how do I, I'm running marathons, I've walked the North Pole, done all these things, and yet I'm obese. Why am I obese? Because I've been given the wrong information by pharmaceutical companies, wrong information by governments, wrong information, everywhere surrounded by wrong information. And it's only when I met Warwick and another personal trainer called Ben and Sam and a guy called Ollie, I had, fortunate enough to have like 4 personal trainers working with me.
Wow.
They taught me about food, diet, and the weight started to fall off. And part of that is living more primally on your food, exercising, but the right exercise. There's also wrong exercise out there. The right exercise, the right food, and the right supplementation. Get hold of your omega-3, see what it does for you, and if you don't love the benefits, if you're not absolutely bowled over by it, by all means send us back, because we want you to be with us on this journey for a very long time.
Order 1 month supply of Primal Omega-3 today for the amazing low price of $4.99. And if it's your first purchase from Primal Cure, we will send you a supplement organizer worth $9.99 completely free of charge. Plus, when you order 2 boxes of Primal Omega-3 today, then we will send you a 3rd box completely free, making a further saving of 33%. Call our friendly UK call centre 24 hours a day on free phone 0800 4402 888 or order online at primalcure.com. And if your online order totals more than £35, we will even deliver for free. As we want to be your preferred choice for all health and well-being products, if you don't love this product, send it back within 30 days for a full no-quibble money-back guarantee.